these co-op ideas that I think permeate sailing, and that is that almost no matter what the price is, it's less about the gear and more about getting as much time on the boat as possible. Did you follow me? It doesn't matter what the format is. Another way of looking at that is to say that low-cost sailing is as good or better than high-cost sailing, and there's more of it now than there ever was. Why? Because there are only 2.6 million of us. There's a lot of sailing opportunity out there, so let's just dispel that cost thing right out of the gates. Now, I could, my 30-footer, I could blow some pretty big dollars. I was on the phone yesterday with a competitor in town. We both need new mainsails because ours are pretty ratty, and we haven't been winning lately. And I pointed out that I've spent less on my last 2 cars than I have on my last 2 mainsails, but that was out of necessity because it was something that had to happen. So you see that this is a series of compromises. Anyway, that's enough of that. All right, let's tackle another one. Let's do not kid friendly. So you're in a place that serves 6,000 some kids by the time the two. By the time
at least, yeah, probably more.
6,000, 7,000 kids a year, a season. 6,000, 7,000 kids in units go out in the water, right?
Right.
At least down here. Here's an amazing fact. 350,000 U.S. kids are in some sort of junior sailing program every summer in the United States right now, and that's more than we've ever had in our history in a junior sailing program right now. We're doing pretty well, actually, in terms of getting kids into skills-based programming, okay? And there are more programs. There are 3.5 such programs in every major metropolitan area. I think you probably within a stone's throw, there are 4 of them here, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that. Isn't that amazing? So the opportunity for kids to join this is really huge. You could join at almost any level you want. You could be going towards Olympic sailing if you wanted, or you could be going towards boat rides if you wanted, and there's all sorts of stuff in between. So that's actually pretty amazing. More programs than ever, more kids in it. But here's a problem. With few exceptions, what we're really doing in most of these programs is occupying their time. And here's a way to think about that. Look at that stat. 95% of kids that are in junior programs don't sail after the age of 25. And it's not just that they quit at 25, they never come back. Isn't that wild? So we have more kids in programs than ever before, and 95% of them will leave. But let's give ourselves a little break here. Sailing isn't alone. 95% of youth athletes aren't youth athletes after 25 years old. How many soccer players do we still have? Who took piano lessons as a kid? Really? Is that it? Okay, 3. Who still plays? Okay, you guys are outliers again. What you usually get is kind of that 9 to 10, that 9 to 1 ratio of people who all took lessons and then quit. Who took some instrument lesson as a kid? Okay, who still plays the instrument? There, that's better. That worked out. Get it? So it's the same thing. And a way to think about, well, I don't want to disparage in any way the idea of teaching kids how to sail. I think it's a fabulous thing to be doing. But what we need to do is talk about what we're really doing. We're teaching great skills right now, but what we haven't figured out the formula for is to teach what those of us that have been doing this since 1979 understand about it, which we'll talk about shortly. Okay? All right. So this comes out in one of the first blog posts on the internet is, all right, that stupid book, that's a stupid idea, it's just fun. It's clearly what's happened in sailing is it's become unfun. It's all this racing junk and all these old guys that are, yelling at the kids, and we've just made it terrible through all these rules and can't be fun. And I thought to myself, are you kidding me? Are we really going to argue about whether or not this is fun or not? So I thought I would dispel this notion a little differently than through statistics. I went to my iPhoto library and I brought maybe 10 pictures forward from our sailing activities. And your job is to try to find an example of it not being fun. Okay? See if you can do that. So I'm going to introduce you to some folks. These are my kids. This is Kate right here. she's now 17, and Elizabeth, who's now 13. They were 12 and 15 or so this year, and what this was a Tuesday or a Thursday in late July, so the water temperature in the lake had risen, and they're in a junior program. They head down on Tuesday mornings. They get there at about 8:30, and they go sailing for 3 hours. They come and have lunch with their friends, and they go back out and go sailing again for 3 hours, and then they come home and they're crashed but completely content on Tuesday and Thursday nights when this all goes down. So here they are, sisters, sailing along late in the afternoon. They've been in and out of the water all day. This was not one of those days where they drove them to do tons of tacking and tons of drills. They just got to go bombing around on a great afternoon. And the photo boat comes along and snaps this picture. And I'm thinking to myself, the first time I saw this, I thought, so at age 12 on Lake Amybel at camp on that scow, I knew nothing in comparison with what these guys know. And I had no ability to do what they're doing, and boy, does that look like fun. Anybody think I'm wrong on that?
You didn't even have the equipment to do it.
We couldn't do this. That scow went this fast, but it was for different reasons. You know, you couldn't do this. This is stunning that they can pull this off. So what I want you to do now is I want you to track with Elizabeth. She's the towhead that went up and picked up the flags, right? So here she is again. And I'm going to tell you a longer story about this one. So obviously we've got a family racing program, and racing isn't all this is about. This is about sailing in total. But one of the things that we do with this program is we try to find one event we can go to that will really be a family special vacation event. And so for a couple of years in a row, we've delivered the boat 90 miles south to Chicago to a really big regatta that they run called the Verve Regatta. So you deliver on Thursday, you sail Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then you deliver home, again, 90 miles north on Sunday afternoon, and everybody goes back to work on Monday. Actually, it's a stunning event. There are about 300 boats sailing in this regatta, all big, and they have 3 race courses with 100 boats each. Ours is in the middle, and all the boats are about the same size, so we're cross-tacking with 100 boats. It was just crazy. Underneath the skyline in Chicago for 3 days, and then at night you go to dinner on Strip. It's just an amazing event. So Sunday, last day of the regatta, the 8th race, we're doing okay, and this squall line comes blowing through the plains and hits Chicago. And I don't know if you've ever sailed there or experienced one of these Michigan squall lines, but it goes from 8 to 48, just like that, and flattens the fleet. So kites are blown up and boats are knocked over. One of the chase boats, the race committee chase boats, flipped, and they had to bring a helicopter out and find people. And of course, they canceled the whole thing. They abandoned the race, and they said, "You guys go in. This is the end of our regatta." It was about 12:30 in the afternoon when that went on, because they knew that this line was going to keep coming through Chicago, and there was no way to recover from this whole thing. So our crew was disappointed, but we, had our weather gear on. We had dropped everybody off at the dock and said, "All right, I'm going to head north to Milwaukee now. So anybody want to volunteer to come do the delivery, because it's going to be a 14-hour slog north with a 6-horsepower outboard motor going up the back." I was just dreading this experience. And Elizabeth said, "Hey, I'm in." And Kate, her sister, said, "I'm in." And a kid named Eric Roman, a college kid, said he was in. So we leave the dock and start puttering north. And I'm really not looking forward to 14 hours or something like that, and getting home at 3 a.m. and then getting up in the morning to go to work on Monday. And we've been out for 45 minutes, and Elizabeth, the 12-year-old, says, "Dad, I cannot believe you are not paying attention to what's going on here." Now, we've had this afternoon of, abandoned race, chaos stuff, and I'm kind of tired. And she says, "Dad, that cell that came over the city is out there on the lake, and there's another one coming in from behind, and between them, it's going to blow 20 out of the south. We got to get a spinnaker up." So I said, "All right, Elizabeth, which one do you want?" She said, "Well, Dad, I want the pink one." And I said, "Okay, that's a good choice." So we put the pink kite up, and there she is grinding the kite. The boat immediately pops up onto a plane. It's this planing all sport boat thing. We started doing 12, 13 knots northbound. Can you imagine that? Took 2.5 hours, 3 hours off of our delivery time. Got home at about midnight instead, because we had this